Joining us on the podcast once again today, a returning champion, of course, to this show. Of course, you all know her best as head coach of the 2025 Big Ten Tournament Championship winning team, our number 4 overall seed in this year's NCAA Division I Women's Tennis Championships. Welcome back to the show, Ohio State women's tennis head coach Melissa Schaub. Coach, it is always good to see your smiling face. Welcome back to the program. How are you and the Buckeyes feeling with the Sweet 16 ahead?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's always good to be here. So thanks for having me. We feel good. We're happy to be able to be in Columbus and be at home this weekend. So hopefully, yeah, it'll be a good day tomorrow. We'll see.
I try to strategically place this week in between a big success and the start of the round of 16 so that all of you have a positive connotation when you see me. It's like, oh, must still be playing. So I guess
Right.
that the trick is working,
There you
at
go.
least here so far. But no, obviously, for your team to get back to the Sweet 16, an impressive feat, of course, in any year. But just if I were to take you back to January 1st and I would have said, Coach, I think on May 8th, your team's going to be 23-3. You're going to miss the indoors, but still be the number 4 seed in the tournament and hosting the Sweet 16. You think you would have laughed me out of the room?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough spot to be in, and I think, yeah, last year we lost three seniors, Irina Cantos being one of them, and was just an incredible leader for us. And so we knew, this year was going to be tough, but we had a lot of returners and obviously some good tennis in the building still. So we were excited about that. And then, January came, we felt like we were playing some good tennis, but obviously ran up against a good Tennessee team on the road. And in that moment, we've been lucky enough to make indoors for a while now, and it's something that we always kind of, definitely highlight on our season. So not doing that was definitely tough. I think our group took it hard, but I'm really proud with how we've rebounded and kind of taken care of what we were able to that was in front of us. And yeah, I think our back against the wall a little bit in the beginning, and happy with how we came out of it. So.
No, so impressive. And speaking of back against the wall, I mean, it's only a doubles point, but you look at this weekend and your round 2 match against Notre Dame, and obviously that's an experience and a very good team. For your team to drop doubles as they did, and then we talked about this on our show a couple nights ago. That was as impressive as of a singles performance as I saw in the opening weekend. To win 6 first sets, to win 4 straight set matches. What'd you see from the girls in round 2? What does that say about where they are at this point?
Yeah, and we talked about that, a lot. We talk about like the scoreboard pressure and what you're doing. And, now Nishino out there, I think grinding out that first set. I think that was the last first set maybe on the board. And that stuff matters, deep down to feel like we've got all six first sets against a good team and after losing the doubles point. So, we weren't too happy with the doubles point that we came out and played that day. I'm not sure, kind of what it was, but yeah, I mean, I think that look, I think the girls look around and they believe in each other on all the courts, and I think that's a good spot to be in. We feel like we've got a chance at every spot, and they believe in that and the work they've put in, and it allows us to kind of go out there and hopefully play good with our backs against the wall.
No, I felt that, which is, I don't want to say surprising because that's unfair to your team, but they're so young. Like, this is a really young group, and I know you have two seniors, obviously, in Sydney and Shelley, who are in that singles lineup as well, but it's a lot of sophomores. It's a lot of
Yeah.
freshmen. By the way, good recruiting. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. These past couple of seasons, not too shabby of a job you guys are doing, but how has it felt, this team? Like, to see it click this fast? I hate to keep getting back to did you expect it, but to what do you credit their ability to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I really like this group.
Yeah.
I really like this team. We have a really good core group. Obviously, the seniors are doing well. And then, the sophomores, we have a really good junior on the team, Megan Basil. And then the sophomores have kind of just, this is their team, this is their program. And I think that they've really embraced what Ohio State is. And they're kind of all gym rats. You're trying to get them to leave the court, which as a coach, that's like the best thing to have, people that are enjoy what they get to do every single day and they like being around each other. So I don't know if I'm surprised or not, but I'm definitely very happy with where we're at and also just with the future of Ohio State right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned that sophomore class, Taya, 13-1, and jumping up to the top two spots the way that she has. Obviously, for Luciana, you could argue it's actually harder to follow up a
Yeah,
freshman season like she had than that freshman
yeah,
year itself. 18-3, even Audrey, and playing her best ball. It feels like down the season's home stretch. Don't want to leave out Alicia, another sophomore I know on the roster too. But how do
yeah.
they make that leap that quickly? Like you say, it's the ownership. What does that look like every day?
Yeah, I mean, they work their butts off every day. I mean, they come out and they just everything has a purpose, and they do it together. And they all stuck around all summer. All four of those guys were here all summer long. They're living together, they're eating together, they're working out together. It's just really cool to kind of be a part of that. And I think at our year-end meetings last year, when we sat down with Luciana, this is going to get tough. This is going to get tough because she had a great freshman year, and just to watch her be able to come back and do it again, I think says a lot about her and kind of what she's capable of. I mean, she has a very high ceiling. She has a lot of talent and just absolutely loves the sport. So, she's going to keep getting better and better, I think. And Taya, obviously, yeah, we all knew what she was capable of last year, but just a total team kid, and makes everyone else around her better. And Audrey's doing an amazing job as well, just tough down there. And yeah, so just really proud of all those guys. And, Alessia's going to get her moment. It's coming. So, yeah, happy for them.
I feel like for Taya, again, I think I said at the moment I first saw her play, the pace was always obvious. You never want to put a silencer on a shotgun. And like I'm curious what that development process has looked like. I don't want to say she's been just more consistent this year because it's not as simple as that, but it's the consistent explosiveness. Like how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean the balls always come off the racket well,
Yeah.
right? And it's her believing in her ability to, the thing with Taya that we've all been able to see is her athleticism, and she's able to move, so kind of getting her to understand like you don't need to pull the trigger all the time because you can move, So she's kind of trusting that a little bit more, and yeah, I mean went through some grueling summer workouts and really made that, change the mindset and put in the work. And I just think the confidence has kind of risen throughout the season. And um, again, I think she plays with a lot of joy, and I think when you get to see that, it's hard to not root for the kid.
Yeah, it's what college tennis is all about. And the report from the ground is by the end, she had a cult following at the Ojai, and makes a lot. By the way, how was it getting out there? I wanted to ask you. Of course, I'm not avoiding the the topic du jour, but
Right,
just that
right.
Ojai experience. How was it to get out there for the first time?
Yeah, I mean the people out there are amazing. The community gets behind the tournament. I think, that part was really good. I mean, obviously we had a great experience. We left there feeling good, but I think, we really embraced it. We did the tea time. We went to the tent and we had that, and we kind of walked around downtown. So yeah, I think our team really embraced it. But look, I mean, we got 3 outdoor matches in, which sometimes is, we're not able to say that coming out of the Big Ten tournament. So I think that as far as preparation, feels pretty good. I think we were a little tired last week cross country trip, but yeah, no, I mean, I feel like we've set it up nicely here.
No, securing that top 8 seed, it was like, fine, we'll do one on the road because now we get two at home. It's a win-win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
fair trade, and obviously to have that match against Michigan and drop the doubles point, be down a team match point as you were on court number 4, that comeback, it happened on many different spots. Obviously, how good Tay and Luciana were on that day was awesome. But talk to me about that comeback to bring home that title, to get that win over a Michigan team who had gotten you obviously earlier in the year, just what that meant to this group.
Yeah, it meant a lot. I mean, it meant a lot. I mean, obviously it's a rivalry match. We all know that we get up for hopefully every match, but there's always something special, with that match. And we thought we kind of had Michigan on the ropes a little bit at their place earlier in the year, and couldn't quite finish it. And so, we thought we had chances. We knew we were right there, but obviously they're very good and very tough. That's a really competitive, tough team all the way through. So nothing but respect for those guys from us. But yeah, just happy with the way we played and came out. And I think that we changed a lot of things in January with just our approach and our mindset, and kind of working with our sports psychologist a little bit and just trying to take control of the things that we could. And I thought out there it was yeah, just hopefully an experience that they'll never forget. Just kind of the way it came down to now as a freshman, and Sydney beating, Lily Jones. I don't know if she's ever beaten her before. And, it was just the way it happened was pretty special. And just to see the girls kind of celebrate the way they did, it obviously meant a lot. I don't know. I think maybe five in a row between the two teams in the finals, and they've obviously gotten us quite a few times. So it
Yeah.
felt good.
It was a heck of a match. It was
Yeah.
certainly a fun one. All of them have been fun this year, and to send Sydney out in that fashion and see Sydney, I don't like. I'm sure she'd be the first to admit her junior year she didn't play the level she wanted to, and this year 14-3, and it's just like you watch her and you're like, yeah, that's Sydney Ratliff.
Yeah.
To see her to send her off in that way has to have felt nice. What clicked so well once again this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we were able to start her a little bit lower this season, which, I think just to get the confidence. I think the fall was still trying to get back to what we all knew she was capable of doing. And a lot of that's just, in our sport, it's confidence. It's not, your forehand this or anything like that. It's just got to get out there and compete. And, you got to experience winning again, and it all starts to kind of flow back. So she was able to do that and work her way back up into the lineup. And, she's given us so much this year. So just really happy to see her back play the way she's capable of playing. And I think playing pretty free. So, that's been really nice to see as well, just towards the end here.
Yeah, and again, all season long, it feels like everyone has had to contribute. By the way, that kickoff weekend we alluded to earlier, yourselves, Tennessee, NC State, worth noting, all still alive in the Sweet 16. Texas Tech was a top 16 seed. Did you know in the moment were you looking around like, huh, these teams are kind of good?
Yeah. Well, you see it happening like, oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it was good. It's like we put a lot on that. Like, guys, this is what's coming the first weekend of the year, like this is what we have to be ready for NC State. And I think it gave us, definitely some motivation kind of over break and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean that's what you want. You want to play good teams, but yeah, for sure looking back on it, yeah, it's a tough
Yeah.
weekend. Tough weekend
It's
in Knoxville.
no, it was a loaded weekend, a fun one certainly, and late into the night as we all remember. Did you know you were going to get this from now right away?
I don't know that you ever know.
Yeah.
I don't know that you ever know. I mean, we knew that, yeah, she came on the visit and right away. We're like, this is our type of kid, right? I mean, she just, yeah, super into it, disciplined and works really hard. So, like all freshmen do, had some ups and downs in the fall, I think a little bit, and maybe starting out, just grasping the whole idea of college tennis and what it's about. But she's, yeah, embraced it and competes really hard. And yeah, just, I mean, huge piece of our team here right now for sure.
Yeah, it's again, it's happened everywhere, and one of my favorite stats going through all of these and getting ready for this press row, I looked at the number three doubles for you all, 20-4 overall in the season at number three doubles. That's a heck of a number. Eight different teams combined for 20-4, and I know you guys dropped a tough doubles point this past weekend to Notre Dame. What does it look like trying to address that without obviously anyone hitting a panic button before the Sweet 16?
Yeah, we kind of came in here actually after that match, and I mean, we switched up our doubles a little bit for this weekend. So, having the ability to do that, I think, is good. I don't know. Sometimes it's a long season, and we haven't switched up our doubles as much as we kind of have in the past. Sometimes, actually, I feel like so. I mean, obviously, Chavez and Perry were doing very well for us as well, and Nishino and Spencer, and I don't know, so. Yeah, we kind of all sat down as a group and what are we comfortable with? What do we need to see here? And so we'll see how that goes. But no, I definitely don't think the panic button was pressed, but shit, we would like to get the doubles point.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
anyone who saw that singles last weekend, if you're finding six first sets and a doubles point, uh,
oh well,
that's the
no.
last combination I've yet to see play out. I've seen all the other things. By the way, just as a former Vol, did you see the men's comeback last weekend? Five love
I
down in the third set,
I
three love
did
down.
not. I did not actually, and I heard all about it.
Yeah,
Um,
crazy. Fun
yeah,
weekend in Knoxville, to
yeah,
say the least. And yeah, obviously, you guys, by the way, alongside of them, of course, a couple other programs, to get both the men's and women's team through to the Super Regional, to be able to host both of those matches here
right.
this weekend, just a fantastic weekend for tennis fans in Columbus. What does that mean for this program to, again, have that sort of success and consistently now as well?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll be a good weekend and we'll get some fan support out here, tomorrow night and Saturday. But I think it's a good environment, here at Ohio State. I think that, both teams just working hard and kind of trying to have that elite mindset and the way we train and the way we kind of go about our work and our business. I think, hopefully it's something that can, can kind of be shown throughout the community and keep, lifting tennis. I feel like it's just one of the best sports out there. The more people we try to get kids to come out and watch college tennis, because it's an exciting atmosphere. It's as exciting as it gets, I think, for our sport. So, hopefully we have, guys and girls on the team that can kind of, be role models for kids coming up in Columbus and kind of everywhere. But
Very inside baseball. Is there any thought to playing the matches on the same day?
I actually think it's an NCAA rule that we cannot. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we cannot play the super regional on the same day. Otherwise, I think we would have loved to do that.
yeah, it's probably weather related.
Oh,
Look, they're the
exactly.
logistics people. That makes a lot of sense. Boring,
Exactly.
but makes a lot of sense certainly. One thing, obviously, you guys got to do this season, not in the past. Although I know USC and UCLA ended up coming to you. Did you feel an additional burden with the expanded conference this year? What was it like negotiating that? I don't think the Big Ten played everyone. Is that something you'd like to do in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we play 13 matches, so we kind of
Mhm,
have four no plays every year. The Big Ten does the scheduling for us. So next year we go out there, we'll go out to UCLA and USC. I believe the other West Coast swing, Washington, Oregon, come to us.
mhm.
So I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think it added just so many more, like moments where you're watching over the weekend, you're trying to figure out like what seeds people are going to be in the Big Ten tournament and who's going to get into the NCAA tournament. I think it makes it fun for the kids for sure, and for us just to follow it along, some upsets along the way. And yeah, I think it for me personally, I loved having those guys kind of in our conference.
Were you well aware of the fact that you were playing for a top 8 seed as well in the Big Ten tournament? Like, is that something you address with the team?
We did not address that with the team, although I think that they knew, but we as a staff were very aware. I think I was talking to my supervisor like at the fence during the warm up for that Michigan match in the finals. Because, you look up all these things and you say, okay, we're 8, but we're gonna get jumped by, and like, okay, and so we're trying to figure it out. But yeah, at the end of the day, got to go take care of business. But yeah, the girls knew. I think they know everything now, because of you guys, right? It's like, so there's no hiding anything. But yeah, yeah. Well, you do this battle with yourself, right? Like you care. You want to be a top 8 seed, but at the same time, like you can't get caught overlooking the first match or the second match. So it's, I'm like, well, I don't even know why I care about this because I should just care about the first day, but I kind of want to care about it. So I don't know.
I
Yeah.
tell I tell Chris all the time he's ruined selection process Monday for all of us because you can just go to his website and work the what if calculator, and now it's
Yeah.
down to like the mileage. Like, oh no, it's
Right.
within 400, so I even know Notre Dame's coming. Yeah, it's no fun. You keep that information private.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but for your team this season, and again, the number is remarkable, 23-3 overall. Is there a specific match you would turn to where you say, I learned the most about my group this year?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough question. I was the most proud, I think, after the Big Ten final against Michigan, just how we handled the pressure. I felt like, okay, this is something where like it all clicked, right? But no, I mean, there were moments where it didn't go our way, and I thought we came back and just freaking, fought our asses off, in that week for practice. So, obviously it comes down to Audrey Spencer and in Knoxville in that match. I think we have 3 or 4 match points at the end there, and she doesn't get it. And I believe like 2 weeks later, it comes down to her at Duke,
Mhm.
and it's the same thing. I think maybe a tiebreaker for the third, and that was a moment where as a coach you're watching like this kid it can't happen again, and she turned it around, and to kind of watch that be able to happen, I think gave us some life. Like, you're going to lose a couple tough matches, but it's going to come back around, as long as you keep your head up and keep doing the right thing. So I think to be able to come through that match on the road, was definitely a big moment for us and kind of showed us that, hey, we're here, because we knew not making it to indoors, we can't really have a mess up here.
Yeah.
Every single match in front of us, we have to take care of business. And I think to be able to come out of that gave us like some life. Like, okay, we can do this. So
No, that stretch at the start of February at Notre Dame, at Duke, Oklahoma State at home. It's healthy scheduling. Like that's certainly going to push a team, especially with 2 of those weekends on the road. With the Big Ten Conference, all the travel that may be ahead, is that something you'll continue to do?
as far as those like playing those matches,
Yeah,
playing.
especially like in a hypothetical post indoors pre-conference play, like really stacking up February.
Yeah, no, I think that we'll continue to do that as much as we can. I mean, we want to compete. We want to get out there and play those teams and, play a tough schedule. So I think it gets us ready. Although the conference schedule has changed a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think, yeah, you got to go out there and play the best team. So we're playing Notre Dame again next year. We're playing Oklahoma State on the road next year. Um, yeah, we'll try to keep it going.
Michigan doubleheader still on?
Michigan doubleheader.
That's
Michigan doubleheader.
Can I just say, and I know I've complimented before, the home and home between two rivals is just brilliant. Like
I
it's a
love
stroke
it.
of genius.
I love it. And we're less than 3 hours down the road. I mean,
Yeah,
let's do this.
yeah.
So
Bravo again. Two
the
coaches.
problem is though, it just can't turn into like four. It can't be like indoors and then the bit, then
The counter. Georgia and Texas A&M have played 7 times in the last 2 years. Two of
I
them
know.
national championships to date. Two conference tournament finals. And when I write my book, they get a chapter. Like,
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
So let's run up the count. I like it. I think we should bring back Kari and
we
Arena
should.
for one
Irene
of
and
those
Kari, and they
matches.
just yeah, they get
Yeah,
to continue to play every year. You just add them in, and then yeah,
exactly. They're worth 2 to the overall
yeah,
scoreboard or something like that. No, I like
yeah.
it. If you could go back to January and reallocate more time in practice for your team for something, whether it be on court, off court, whatever it may be, what would you pick and why?
Um, you know what? I think that. I don't know. We put in a lot of time on the court. These guys do a ton of individuals, a ton of just out here on the ball machine and their serves. I feel like throughout the year we've been trying to tell them like the tennis is taking care of itself. I mean, we're playing good tennis. It's the stuff that's happening above the shoulders, and I think sometimes for, maybe 18 to 22-year-olds, it's a little bit, it's not something that they're first going to maybe jump into. And we've kind of been jumping into that here in the latter part of the season. And I think it's just been really good for us to have those like open conversations with each other and with our sports psychologists, just how to deal with certain situations and just have a great support staff around us with our nutritionist and trainer and, the recovery side of things. So I feel like we've really handled that well this year, even with the youth is, just understanding the recovery, the mobility, those things that, I never did as a player and wish I would have. So yeah, I think it's just kind of, we've always been a team that I feel like just hits a lot of balls and I think that served us well to a certain point, but now trying to take care of, the mental side as well and, just where our bodies are at.
My brain was once broken to the point that once at a national indoors, just after a day of watching players drink smoothies, I thought, man, is that why I didn't make it? I was like,
Yeah.
did I need more smoothies? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, they're
No
all
one ever
doing it.
offered me like those Stinger packets. I never got
Yeah.
those. I never got the Stinger. I got like a Snickers and like a Coke and said like, you're fine,
It's
Yeah.
those delicious tasting waffle things. Yeah, I'm like, I would
Yeah.
have lived off of these, and you're telling me it would have been okay? Uh,
Right.
yeah, that's really.
Right. No, the amount of snacks that are, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm like, what do
Yeah.
I have to do in college again to have a refueling station? That just
Right.
sounds like that's what I always needed. No, I like that, and again, I am curious. What's the road dynamic? What do the vans look like? What have the splits been this year? Who rides with you? Who rides with Adam? What's the breakdown?
They switched it up a little bit actually. They
Okay.
switched it, they switched it up a little, probably because they get sick of me and then they go to Adam's car and then, then Adam and then when they really need like normal, they just go get in Irina's car and listen to their own music and um, the cool coach over there. So yeah, we've taken a bus actually. We've taken a bus quite a few times. They love that. They get to play games in the back and um so that's been a little fun little trip. But yeah, I
I
guess
like.
whoever the good music gets in my car.
I like. I was gonna say, do you control the aux?
Yeah. No, I'm smarter than to do that. I say, hey, Luciana Perry, here's the chord.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's wise. It's wise. Or
yeah,
again, senior has it, they defer. No, that's very very funny. Obviously this week I know you're focused on the Sweet 16 and all things this weekend's match and advancing, but of course this is also the week the portal opens up. It's become more normalized, of course, and it gets more so every year. Where does the portal fit in your approach to roster construction?
yeah. Adam looks at that stuff and then he just kind of gives me the updates of who's in there and Yeah, something that we're not trying to think about too much right now, just trying to focus on our team that we have here and um, finish off the season well and hopefully we have a little bit more tennis in us. That's the hope. And then I guess we turn to recruiting at that point. So something right now that we're not diving into, but obviously everybody does that stuff differently, but we feel like we have a good group coming in, freshmen next year and we've kind of covered what we're losing. So I think we're in a good spot right now and hopefully can just allow us to focus on our current team. But yeah, no, it's always in there. And obviously yeah, people are having a lot of conversations right now and uh, figuring that stuff out. But for us, it hasn't been too crazy yet.
No, I feel like often, again, have I looked through every roster? No. I like to think I have a grasp of things. Like,
You do.
historically, you haven't had a ton of transfers. Are you just someone who prefers the 4 years with someone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, every situation is different,
Sure.
obviously, but I think yeah, be able to bring a kid in. And I mean, it depends on your age too at times
Okay.
and what you're looking for at certain, I think that obviously every year is different, but yeah, we've had success just kind of doing it the old school way a little bit as well. And being able to bring kids in that buy in and, um, work hard, you get to see their development. And I think just the cohesiveness of a team. That's something that no matter what happens or who you bring in, I never want to lose. Because to me, that's the best part about what we get to do every day is, watch them do it together and how much it means to them, to celebrate winning a Big Ten regular season or Big Ten tournament and knowing the kind of work that they put in together for hopefully years. So it definitely doesn't mean that the right person isn't in the transfer portal. Obviously that is very possible, but to make sure you kind of like you find the right people. It's not always the best tennis player, but the right person for your program.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did Arena talk back more as a player or as your assistant?
Probably more as my assistants, which is actually a good thing because we need her too, we
Yeah.
need her to kind of come from a different side of things. Adam and I have been doing it together for a long time. So to be able to add her and now she's a little bit more like, this we didn't really love or this we did like or it's been awesome having her though and I can't say she talks back either way. She's a
Yeah.
pretty good individual, but we're lucky to have her and then for the girls to kind of get to continue to have her around, someone that they trust a lot.
Yeah, no, it's just a fascinating insight. Who has more power, the assistant or the captain? And so,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, well, they still call her Cappy, so I don't know that,
that's good.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that. And by the way, her, Francesca, like the coaching tree's growing. Like there are
I
some
know.
branches now.
I know for sure. It's exciting for us to see, and hopefully there are going to be a couple more out there soon. And yeah, but yeah,
It's
yeah.
very no, I agree. Very cool to see as well. My last two questions for you. I'm gonna ask you to put on the pundit hat for this one. I know you are locked in on your own match, maybe even so much so you're not aware of all of the seven other matchups. But if I were to ask you to pick one of the other seven that intrigues you most, who might you pick and why?
Um, yeah, I don't. I mean, I obviously have looked at the draw. I can't pretend I haven't done that, but I don't know. I just
You,
obviously I'm going to watch the Michigan match. My brother's on staff, and Ronnie and I are good friends, so we're always going to support the Big Ten teams, right? UCLA.
Mhm.
Allison and I are good friends at Tennessee, so I'll jump on and watch their match with Virginia. But yeah, just cheering for the Big Ten teams, and hopefully it's an exciting weekend.
What was it like to coach against your brother this year? I wasn't gonna bring it up, but the door opened.
Yeah, okay. It was actually funny because I got a text message from my uncle the other day, like I knew you weren't going to lose to your brother 3 times in a row. Oh, that's good. You know. So yeah, no, I mean it's look, we've competed against each other before. It's not, it's not that weird. When you're out there on the court, it's not really about the coaches, it's the players going to play. But um, happy for him and what they've had an amazing season. And I think, he's obviously happy up there in Ann Arbor. So
Yeah.
yeah.
If there's another rubber match that needs to be played, just you two, singles match. Roll out the
Right.
camera. Let's have some
Right.
fun.
Exactly. It's maybe like pickleball though or something.
Hey, any of the things with the rackets in the hand, I'm sure it'll
Yeah,
get
yeah,
competitive.
yeah. Ping pong.
Yeah, exactly. My last question for you, obviously, big match ahead this weekend, taking on an LSU team, relatively new to the scene. Talk me through what you view as their biggest strength and what's it going to take for your team to keep advancing.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's going to be tough, obviously. They got really strong at the top of the lineup, obviously throughout, but I think everybody knows, their one and two players are at the top and very good. And we don't know much about them, honestly. We haven't played them, at least in a long time that I can remember. So, there's something about that where you're going in like not as familiar. Like we knew Notre Dame pretty well. We see them. Um, so these guys we don't. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. We'll find out. But just try to keep it about us, I think, tomorrow night and focus on what we can. But we're expecting a battle for sure. And we know that their level is very high, so we have to be ready.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. And certainly, again, always a pleasure to get the chance to chat. Ohio State women's tennis head coach Melissa Schaub, thank you for taking the time. Obviously, an
Thanks, Alex.
OH to you and the team here this weekend,
IO.
and good luck to you.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much.
Recording stop.